So why am I talking about abolish whiteness? So what I'm saying is renounce your whiteness, be a decent human being. The people that identify as white and all for the white race and white power and white pride are Nazis and neo-Nazis and people like the KKK. There is no white food, there is no white music, there's French food, there's Russian music. Being a better white person is like being a better Nazi. Just don't be a Nazi. It's not right to be white. Don't treat them with respect because they don't deserve it. They're not our friend. The world is ours. And I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
Hey guys, my name is Madi and you are welcome to Madi Speaks. So today's video is gonna be for all my white folks, okay, who have identified that they are white but are actively looking for ways to abolish and renounce their whiteness so that they can become good, decent people in the society. This video is also for those white people who might not know that they need to abolish their whiteness but would come to learn that by the end of this video. Believe me, white folks, you guys have a lot of unlearning to do, and also you have a lot of renouncing to do today. But before we jump into the video, please do well to subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or buying me a coffee if you like, as a way of supporting the channel. Alright, so let's begin by listening to this intelligent and loving individual.
Today I'm going to talk to you about abolishing whiteness, which, bear with me, it's far less to lose than you'd think. So why am I talking about abolish whiteness? So what I'm saying is renounce your whiteness, be a decent human being. Well, what does that mean? First off, think about who identifies as white, as their primary identification. You probably don't. The people that identify as white and all for the white race and white power and white pride are Nazis and neo-Nazis and people like the KKK.
Oh, wait a minute. So if a British person or an American, Belgian, German, French, Russian, Irish person, etc., when filling out a form, if this person ticks the category white under the racial identification box, that means this person is a Nazi or a neo-Nazi and member of the KKK. Is that what you're trying to tell me? I told you guys you're going to learn something new from this video. Let's continue.
I don't think you would ever find yourself, say, in a crowded theater yelling out white pride. And if you're not proud talking about it or yelling it out, then why be it at all?
So the fact that sensible individuals are not going to go around in movie theaters disrupting the silence and yelling out white pride at the top of their lungs means that they equally shouldn't acknowledge the fact that they are white. Cool.
Whiteness is actually grounded in white supremacy. It is white supremacy. There is no white food, there is no white music, there's French food, there's Russian music.
So does that also mean that there is no black culture? Are people also allowed to say that, or are you gonna think they are racist for saying that? Now I know that I'm Nigerian. Other people might be Ghanaian, Ugandan, Jamaican, Kenyan, Cuban, etc. But at the end of the day, I am still a black person when it comes to grouping human beings into racial categories. I never knew that it was not the same for white people. I never knew that they are allowed to be English people or Finnish people, but they are forbidden to be white. So teach me more.
So when I say abolish whiteness, that doesn't mean you disappear, unless you're a Nazi or a fucking KKK member, and then you can go fuck yourself. Abolishing whiteness means you can just be like the rest of the world. You can go back to being French or Bulgarian, or you can be your favorite sports team or whatever. But basically, you don't need to have this overarching identity of supremacy, even passively. So a lot of people who are white who are like, oh no, but I am a white person, which is some identification you take passively. You're not going to yell it out in a theater. You're not going to go on about the white race or white pride. But you're like, oh, but I am white. And my point is, no, you don't have to be. Because if you think about whiteness, it's actually something that's evolving. In America, Italians and Irish people weren't considered white. I think Noel Ignatieff has written about how the Irish became white. Whiteness is actually something that you can become. And the price of becoming white is that you sort of become an asshole to everyone who hasn't yet. Take me. I'm actually a prime candidate for becoming white. Someone like me, a brown, essentially upper caste, rich person speaking English.
You know what? I've had it with this man, okay? I can't take his idiosyncrasy any longer. This guy is extremely delusional. He has been spitting a lot of nonsense, which I just ignored. But let's begin with his description of himself as an essentially upper caste brown person. This is extremely hilarious. The fact that he appears to be extremely jealous and envious of white people, but refers to himself as an upper caste brown person. just tells me everything I need to know about him, which is that this guy is mad because he's not white. If you know anything about countries in Southeast Asia, you would know that there is this thing they call the caste system, okay, where they place light-skinned Asians at the upper caste, leaving darker-skinned Asians as lower caste. This guy is a prime example of a lower caste Southeast Asian, yet in his head, he belongs to the upper caste. I'm not saying that I'm in support of that stupid caste system they have going on there, but when it comes down to it, he belongs to the lower caste system because clearly he's as brown as they come.
I'm actually a prime candidate for becoming white. Someone like me, a brown, essentially upper caste, rich person speaking English, I can become white. I have a white passport, a Canadian one.
My man wants to be white so much that he made a YouTube video to bash whiteness. So according to him, he can easily transition to whiteness because he has a white passport. So having a Canadian passport can help people transcend to whiteness. That was that was pretty mind-blowing, okay? I admit I never knew that before, but now I guess I know.
Today I'm going to talk to you about white privilege, which I'm actually going to be shitting on, and right now I'm actually shitting in because we're staying in a villa owned by a white person, which you get all across the coast of Sri Lanka, whereas white people who are actually working like, you know, fairly ordinary jobs or whatever will save up enough to buy a villa here, which they then get Sri Lankan people to maintain and do all the cooking and stuff, and they rent it out on Airbnb. So I'm just renting white privilege for the weekend, but some people live here. Because, you know, when we see white privilege, we think, oh, okay, but like, so what? Like, it's a little extra. Like, oh, so like a white person writes like a offensive cookbook about your food, or a white person owns this villa, but like, why not? Like, shouldn't we be able to share? Like, isn't that okay? So this really made me think about it. And fuck no. Yes, a white person should be able to come here and own this villa, but a brown person should be able to go to England and own a house there, or work there and save up enough money to buy a house there. So what's happening isn't sharing. And I think this is contained in the very definition of privilege. If everybody's able to do something, it's not a privilege, is it? White privilege only exists at the expense of everyone else, at the expense of the world.
So actually, this guy is actually Sri Lankan originally, but he went to Canada and obtained Canadian citizenship. But right now, he is mad that some white people can come to Sri Lanka and be able to own properties just like the one he is staying in that particular video. According to him, white privilege gives white people the freedom to travel to his country, Sri Lanka, own a business and purchase properties. But Sri Lankans don't have the freedom, the same freedom, to travel to the UK, get a job, or own a business and purchase properties. What a clown, okay? Despite knowing that that was a big lie, I decided to do a quick Google search, okay? Now, I said, do we have more white people in Sri Lanka than more Sri Lankans in the UK? And Google said, no, there are more people of Sri Lankan descent in the UK than white people in Sri Lanka. I mean, this is not something that is up for debate. Year in, year out, we have millions of people from places like Africa, Asia, trooping to the European countries for greener pastures. You even have a huge number of them migrating illegally, some pretending to be refugees. These European countries welcome them, okay, give them opportunities to be in better condition, but this bozo here wants us to believe that white people are the ones trooping into their third world countries and enjoying all the privileges that they have to offer. Okay.
Whiteness is the structural racism which is fucking up the world so much right now. And racism is not just like isolated being mean to people. Racism is part of the system that preserves inequality, that causes things like climate change. You can't fight any of these things without fighting whiteness, because it's not right to be white.
So this guy has no real substance to offer in his conversation. He had nothing of quality to provide. He was just ranting out of what I see as envy and jealousy for white people. Now, if you check his channel here on YouTube, you would discover that all his videos, all he does is to make videos upon videos demonizing white people. He condemns whiteness as evil, demands that we need to overthrow the West, how all white people are Nazis, and so on and so forth. Now, all these videos which are extremely racist towards white people are allowed to be up and running on this particular platform, but I am not even allowed to report actual events on this platform as long as it shows black people in a bad light. I am not surprised about this. White hate is encouraged and entertained. It is being normalized by the society. It even reminds me of this news clip.
I never once called for cyberbullying or attacks on this professor. This is a deliberate smearing designed to scare me away from calling out blatant anti-white hatred. I won't stop, he tweeted. Good for you.
So that is talk show host Candace Owens there defending University of Chicago student Daniel Schmidt after he took to Twitter to voice his concerns about a course the university was offering to students entitled The Problem of Whiteness. The sophomore tweeted this earlier this month, along with a screenshot of the course there. Quote, since I began college a year ago, I've documented all the anti-white hatred I've seen on campus. Without a doubt, this is the most egregious example. Now, the professor teaching that class allegedly called him a cyber terrorist, demanding the university publicly condemn him. The instructor has since postponed that class, but it will come back until spring after she reportedly received death threats. She claims this would allow officials time to develop a safety plan for her and the students who want to take that course. Here to tell his side of the story is University of Chicago student Daniel Schmidt. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate that. I know it takes a lot to stand up to a big university in offerings there. And Candace Owens even coming to your defense as you just watched with us. Tell us how this all started.
Yeah, sure. So I'd like to preface this by saying, I picked the University of Chicago because this school has a history of standing up to this insanity. So it was really sad to see a class like this being offered. But basically, I was just registering for my classes for the winter quarter, and I came upon this class. And for the little over a year I've been in college, I've been using my Twitter at RealDSchmidt to just sort of expose all the insanity I experienced at my school. So then I was like, you know what? I need to speak up. This is absolutely insane. Telling a group of people they're a problem, that their skin color, that their whiteness is a problem. I mean, can it get any more egregious than that? So I made a thread. It gained a lot of attention. About a week later, the professor announced that the class is postponed. And then she started going to media outlets like NPR, and she was calling me a cyber terrorist, a cyber bully, and demanding that my university publicly condemn me. And, I find it so hypocritical because the left has ruined countless lives, waged countless harassment campaigns, canceled so many careers. They get away with it every time. I guess have the guts to call this out. And now the school or the professor is urging that I get punished, essentially, and that my name gets smeared, my reputation. And I'm not going to stop, though. That's the thing. I'm not going to stop.
Yes, you can be racist to white people all you want because the society allows it. Imagine higher education institutions are even adopting these practices, and now they think it is acceptable to teach courses like the problems of whiteness. This is something that can never be condoned if it was geared toward any other race. They would never try this with the black race or the Asian race or Pacific Islanders or even Native Americans. But as long as it is directed towards white people, then it is all okay. Honestly, it is just horrible and it really should stop. But guys, these are my thoughts, these are my opinions, but feel free to share yours in the comment section below, but do so respectfully. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, honestly, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel, like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or buy me a coffee if you like, as a way of supporting the channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you on the next one. For now, peace.